which is where we are just about 11 HP away on Fallen.
Yeah.
And 5 staying alive, exactly the point I was making. They have to do this efficiently.
Keep 5 alive though, just like that as well. Clean sweep there from Penta, the full commitment from SK Gaming. No loss bonus to work with, of course, as well. This has to be an eco now. We're going to be at 11-10. Who would have thought, after being 10-0 down, Penta could actually be in a shout of winning this game? That's absolutely insane. But SK, they have won a full eco before. Penta rushing towards him, of course. Didn't have to do that. I'm sure they won't make the same mistake again. They've got orbs this time and AKs as well. So Zen of the UMP, he could do the same thing. I don't think they will, though. They're up against Glocks and a CZ. Let's not give anything away. Let's ensure we actually get to double figures here. We said that was certainly a possibility with this matchup, considering the sort of form we've seen from SK, especially in Cologne last week as well, the early stages. Bomb dropped, banana rush, completely shut down. Good Molotov as well. Rotating players over, good grenades as well. This round's done. Clean sweep, should be Zen trying to get all 5. Innocent chimes in as well. And he gets the last couple of frags. So, too much of an exciting round there. Penta locking down a B rush. 11-10 is your overall score, and still the money not great, but there's enough for AK-47s, no orb for sure. They'll get the AKs and armor, but won't have the full array of utility. They'll have the smokes, but want to have all the Molotovs they require.
Zen has caught cold at the top of the leaderboard, 18 apiece. Kill distribution's pretty much dead even on both sides, 14, 14, 10, 9, the rest of Penta, 13, 15, 11, 8, the rest of SK.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Considering the discrepancy when we were at 10-0, we still at HS at -1.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Wow. What a game it's turned out to be. We'll get into round number 22. AKs across the board, as we mentioned. Wallbang damage coming in. Not much, but some. As SK do take control of the apartments here. Default for sure, but they are actually focusing towards middle range, leaving Banana completely open. So this will be a commitment very early on into the round from what I can see. They can't really afford to go back towards Banana. Don't have the orbs set up there. So smokes will be deployed from what I can see towards the arch and towards library as well. That looked like a misthrown smoke to me. That might shut down what they wanted to do, but we'll have a look. Yeah, that's smoke for sure. That was misthrown from the boiler.
So this is actually something to note. They've missed Molotovs where they're normally known for that execute. That is their execute. They're the team that does that. They invented that. And they're missing smokes that are relatively easy. Okay, yes, they've been playing a lot of events, but they're looking rather sloppy in this game.
Yeah, B-side for sure. Well, here we go then. They made their way towards Arch at least, but Crystal's out of the AWP. Finds the first kill. Wants to challenge for the second as well. Can't quite find the timing just yet, but they're going towards B. It's a Banana split, but CT's very aware of the prospect of that.
Fallen, the only one that made it through. The job of Cold had to be to slow down the rest of the rotations to at least allow Taco and Phelps the way through, but Innocent burns Phelps alive. And as a result, he's able to rotate around before Zen goes down. So Taco's on his own. Cold's going to be chased by HS. It's going to keep him far away from the action. It's another round. This is going to go 11-11. I can't see, unless Taco goes absolutely massive.
He can do something with this.
He might be able to get the angle. Innocent spots him on a shoulder peek. And Cold has to sit back 9 seconds. Round done. 11-11 indeed. SK, it's absolutely a struggle.
Those are 2 executions now, as you called. So towards Banana, misthrown Molotovs, misthrown smokes. The timing was off as well. A bit chaotic. This time, same thing, but towards middle. Default, very slow on the start, then went to that full execution towards the A side of the map, wanted to smoke towards Arch, Library, and then there was a key smoke that had to be thrown towards Quad from what I could see as well. That was completely misthrown, bounced off the woodwork of the boiler room, and at that point you could see there's like, oh, what do we do now? That angle's open, we can't really commit. And they went for it, but it was still discombobulated. Didn't look like that was the execution they wanted to do. Uncomfortable, as you said. Fallen the only player going through as well, presumably missing a smoke that allowed the whole team to actually have a chance to go through as a unit. Then Molotov'd out. CT's expecting it. This is looking pretty dire from SK now. 11-11 after being 10-0 up. SK are crumbling. Misthrown HE there, but not a huge deal on the CT side.
You just hate to see it.
Yeah, but this will be the partial buy from SK. Sure, it's a bit heavier than that. They've got an AK to go with as well. They set about $1,000 per player, and they get maximum loss bonus next round. So this will be what Penta will be about expecting, you know. It's absolutely fine. But the AK-47 for Cold Zera. It's round number 23. Surely Penta didn't take the lead after the initial deficit. I don't think anyone could have saw that coming.
So smoke down. This scoreline, it's 11-1 for Penta now.
Yeah.
After being 10-0 down. This is just not at all what anyone would have expected. I mean, like I said, it's a momentum-based map, but not typically like this. Yeah. This is something else.
Yeah, normally I'd skip like 2 or 3 rounds in a row, maybe 4, but this is bananas.
Crystal's got a sense Nearly got it right. Smoke down Arch. Prefer to wrap around Tech 9. Fast, but not fast enough. Cold Zero. I was going to say follow up, and the AK, though, does get the shot. I thought Crystal was going to beat him for that as well. And he's pushed immediately through Archway. In fact, they all have, but Innocent's going to catch them from Library. Information relayed. Their saving grace this time was the early rotation. And therefore, Zen is the only one to beat. Cold has to catch it, has to win it, but he's got to get away from Innocent. Watch out, because Cold does the right thing. He's still the one with the bomb, and Innocent has arrived to take him down immediately. Taco's tagged. They don't have the range. Phelps is the one with the AK. He's planting, so Taco cannot peek. And when he does, bomb's already dropped. This still is absolutely Penta's round. They're going to take the lead. He's not even got the plant. He's missed it. He's done. AK has to save it at this point in time. HS puts him down.
That was looking like an SK round all day long. Cold Zero hitting some shots there. The good split towards CT spawn and the B site as well. And you can see just one player waiting for them as well. That was Zen. Got taken down. I thought that was a chance, but Innocent comes in with the perfect time, I have to say as well. The fact he takes down the bomber, Cold Zero, at that point as well, that actually gives them the lead. 12-11. Taco did what he could there, but it wasn't quite enough. Didn't even get one kill. Does he die after time? I don't believe he did.
No, it was just before.
So he's fine. So he can still buy here. Like we said, maximum loss rate is going into this round, but 10-0 down. Just to reiterate one more time, Penta now have the lead, 12-11. And on the CT side of Inferno as well, arguably the easiest side of the map, where they feel more comfortable. We know that as from this team especially, up against a sloppy-looking SK Gaming. The executions have been poor. Not what we've come to expect from them. Like you said, on Inferno, they set the tone for the map, how it should be played in this previous iteration, right? They showed us what the executions could be like, how beautiful they could be when they're done perfectly. That's not coming out at all so far.
We know how awkward these Swiss systems get as well when upsets happen.
Yeah.
And Penta in Majors, I used to look at this, the scoreboards in Majors, going into previous ones, for example, E-League, and I look back and I go, how did Penta ever make the playoffs?
Sure.
Starting off 1-0 against the world's best team. Okay, yes, it's still a long process to get through both sides, the up and bottom. It's bottom and top of the Swiss bracket, but this is an incredible victory if they win it. If they're able to close this would be something else.
Yeah, it really would set the tone for the tournament. We haven't really had any upsets today. They've been pretty usual results as expected, but this would be one of the biggest upsets of the year. Like next to this and Space Soldiers winning in Cologne last week against this same team. That's kind of nuts. It happens in like a 2-week period.
Fur with smoke in the door. Sprays in it. I know he's there anyway. He's already shot through the window, so no sense being secretive.
This is a solid default from SK. Apartments control obtained. Phelps still towards Banana, but they're going for that mid control here. Very common for the CT to go very passive in this version of Inferno as well. Orpa holds towards Arch. 2 players on the side as well. That's exactly what's happening. Crystal, very deep line here. Just looking towards the corner, trying to find the first frag. They still have smokes to work with here, but not much. As the flashbangs will be coming in momentarily. This will be the commitment towards the A side of the map. To go first for Crystal. I called him out in the pre-game. He's looked phenomenal in the CT half. Very good. He's getting that one frag and falling back. Disciplined stuff.
And SK is starting to just walk into things, being optimistic. Smoke down Sunny in the corner. Fallen tries to pre-fire it, but Sunny counters it off with an instant shot back in return, and then drops down to find Taco. The wraparound's not worked. It's Cold versus 4. He's heard a player jump across, but he hasn't spotted Sunny. He's got the shot instead toward Crystal, and he can't even win that. We go 13-11 for Penta.
Crystal's looking so good right now. That AWP stuff, just to reiterate as well. The fact is, he's not getting the flashes kills, he's getting them one by one, like getting one sitting. Like, he's just getting that kill, back towards Arch, holds a different line, gets another, back to his teammates, throwing the flashbangs in as well, keeping his teammates alive with the flashbangs towards Quad, allowing Sunny to have those amazing plays. And now the pressure really is being applied to SK Gaming. They're force buying into this round. Galils, 2 of those. CZ, Deagles, 1 AK. 13-11 down. SK Gaming up to 10-0 up. This round could be it. This could be the GG. We'll see what they can do. They still have $1,000 on Cold Zero, but everyone else fully invested here. Not looking too good, but it's enough to work with here. Round number 25. Crystal this time with the AWP. Not towards Arch, watching the apartment's position. And we do have some early Banana control. Phelps, Fallen, Taco, Furb. Commitment before was poor. Missed Molotovs, but don't really have that problem this time. They've only got one of those to work with. Maybe a contact player that's walking to the site and hope for the best. See if he can get that first pick. Fallen to challenge first. Looking towards Coffins. Can he find the shot?
Can't do it yet. Zen trying to peek back out from Nubox. Takes the bomb carrier and Fallen Molotov goes off to his right. He'll immediately extinguish it to try and hold his ground. He's on 5 HP. They have to get him. They have to get him now, and they do. Gives them the man advantage in the site with the AK's M4 and the Galil. Now a second M4 for Cold after he takes down HS. Sunny on the re-entrance, though, already finds a kill. Taco peeks out, knows where he is. Gets into water, and he's waiting for the peek to come back in from Banana. Misthrown smoke, and Furs wrap back around. Sunny's a sitting duck, and SK, their first round in a long time. They won round 3 of the half. They give up 6 in a row. They pick up this one, but that's only 2 in the last 12. Actually, excuse me, more than that. It's 2 in the last 13.
Yeah, well, SK Gaming, a bit of a lifeline there.
That math's still wrong. 15.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
The point still stands.
Never do math live on stream.
Round number 26. That's a bit of a lifeline for SK, I have to say. CZs, Deagles, a couple of Galils, and 1 AK as well. Contact play towards B, hoping to get that initial shot, which they certainly do. And Zen, at that point, are trying to buy as much time as he possibly could. Sure, he's been detected in the U-box. They Molotov him. He just drops the smoke, trying to buy himself as much as he can. Wasn't quite enough. Sunny did a decent job there, but it's going to be 13-12 if SK pull one back. This round is important though. This could be the biggest round in the entire game. This is the reset potential now, but Far assertive, takes down Crystal. That's the AWP shut down. Maybe committing towards our side as well. Him and Sunny's waiting for them. This is the duel that counts, and they manage to win him.
HS catches Taco dropping in. Good shot from Fallen. Catches off Innocent up close, and HS is going to be completely limited. He's stuck in the pit. Smoke down everywhere as Taco gets the shot in the sight. Cold goes hunting and finds Zen on rotation. 13-13, they're back in it.
Yeah, much faster Counter-Strike now. Lack of respect and showing that they are the better team on the server. But SK, still, that was one of the biggest rounds as I was trying to deliver you at the beginning of that one. It was, the fact is, if they lose that one, they're fully reset. And Penta go up 14-13. That could have been the GG, but they had a clean sweep there, pushing up towards the top of middle, finding that first frag. Crystal's been the problem. He's had too much freedom. He's had way too much comfort to work with there. So they actually shutting him down. Decent flashbangs. Find the frag on him first. Sunny coming with the refrags as well. Can't get anything done. And this could be it for either side. 13-13. Money breaks for Penta. They drop this round, so they will not have the AWP available, which has been so strong for them. M4s across the board. Full array of utility and diffuse kits, but here we go. Banana control obtained. Same story for Palmers as well for SK. Palmer still down at T-steps. CT's not giving much away. Similar setup. 2 towards the site and Pip. 1 arch. That'll indeed be Crystal. Not in the same position, but obviously can't have as much firepower here.
Sunny's going to back off toward HS. So rather than having the pit and the balcony, which we saw repetitively from SK, they've got quad and graveyard, which gives HS a little bit better angle to support Sunny and still be able to cover off the apartments if he's needed to. Whether in pit, it's a little bit tougher to hit the headshot angle, currently in this style of Inferno, that is. Crystal smoked off at Archway is going to wrap back through, allow them to push around and potentially, if he needs to, if he gets smoked again, go toward Library, but they aren't looking like they're going to smoke him just yet. Instead, it's bounce Molotov toward the cubby. Phelps getting ever closer to Sunny, needs to at least hold true and keep him busy. Does win the exchange. Cold follows it because they need to get the player, oh, good spot from HS, out of apartments. And with HS backing up in graveyard, it nearly disallowed it. Taco's on 16, Cold on 5, and Bomb will go down with 11 seconds remaining. As the rotations come in, it has to be perfect in the post plant from SK. There's Kit on Zen, and I believe another one down in the site. As Innocent is out of it, that's the only kit that will matter. Good shot from Cold in the AWP. Up to the corner, holds the angle as well, and SK take back the lead late.
Old Zera, 4 kills in total, especially with that AWP as well. Like he said, both low, 2-on-2. They know if the CDs get closer to bomb site, not going to stand a single chance there. So he has to go combat orb mode. Managing to take down that first pick of Library, it makes a lot of sense. Hits both shots required there, and SK take the lead once more. 14-13. Very exciting CS going on right now. Penta had a few chances to close this game out. 3 in a row for SK Gaming. We're going to try another 28 here. M4's available still, but this is pretty much the last 5 for Penta. Lose this round, I'd say that's game over. The UMP for Innocent, 4 M4s, 1 kit, no incendiaries, and SK look like they've kind of balanced things out once again. The faster paced play, the lack of respect is getting up as a unit, seems to be working out for them. Gone away from those sloppy executions and slow defaults.
Whatever works, whatever's going to break Penta at this point, just get the win. But it is concerning, especially that Molotov one. because that's something they never used to miss. And they haven't been as proficient with it since the new Inferno came out. And I think more because of the fact that they've been struggling to ascertain banana control. To get the positions to do it, you have to be a little bit more aggressive from where you throw them as well, which means someone could peek you from CT. I never really thought it was the execution itself they were struggling with, I guess is my point. But that was pretty sloppy.
1 minute remaining here. Good utility usage by Penta. That's bought them some more time towards the top and middle. Need every second they can get here. Try and make things uncomfortable for SK generally. Same setup. We have got, indeed, Sunny baited in towards garbage this time. So if you have a look at Crystal, he'll be trying to take as much aggro away as he can. He hasn't had this setup as of yet. They'll be focusing on him and trying to take him down. Now Sunny baited in. He needs to show presence and show he's still there, which he's doing. He needs to fire some shots now. There it is. And now Sunny trying to bait it in.
Oh, doesn't. Only manages one. Sunny had to come away with both of them. That gives Cold an unleashed position. He takes down HS as well. Bomb's still down at the bottom of mid, so he's got more work to do, but Cold is lighting it up.
Yeah, 4 kills again. What can you do when he's hitting those sort of shots? So going for the ace, can't quite find it. Zen has a chance here, 2 versus 1. 5 seconds when the bomb goes down. Does get planted. Zen now, really difficult situation, still has a chance.
Stuck in Moto. He's got to go aggressive. Smoke is very, very poorly thrown, but Taco doesn't care, goes out for it. There's more to deter the fact that he had the angle from the cubby itself. And SK find map point. After being 10-0 up and 12-11 or 11-12 down, they find map point.
Crazy game. That was so good though from Penta. It's a nice adjustment. It kind of built up exactly as I said. Just fire a few shots, bait it in, throw the flashbang, get that first kill. Even if you go down, it's fine. Sunny with the amazing lineup there. The one time he had to deliver double frag, which he's been doing all game, he can't put it off. Cold Zera, he's finding some amazing form here to close this one out. 15-13, 4 rounds in a row. It's not really enough for a full buy here for Penta. 4 UMPs and a FAMAS. They said that they lost that previous round. That could be it. All in now. SMGs and a FAMAS. That's what they have to rely on. Zen and Innocent, of course, holding towards Banana. 3 players already at the top from SK. They know the money's going to be low here. An execution at this point, this would be the perfect time to do it. You know the money's poor, they won't have the AWP to hold you off, they won't necessarily have incendiaries either. So maybe that's just a play to finish things off here. 2 players towards the apartment still. 1 player getting boosted up, that's Sunny. So they have got 3 players on this side of the map for now. But falling back is SK. 2 players hold on to everything here. Crystal, top and middle with the FAMAS. Has to hit at least a couple of kills to stand a chance. He jumps like that too, so he can't get pre-fired and headshot. Just so you know, like he's just trying to take some shots and fall back.
2 players only on A with no information, and it's going to be the floodgates open there for SK jumping down. Good shot for SHS, but it's only 1 as Cold snaps from his left after taking down Crystal. The player you said was jumping and falling back, and then getting HS means everyone's got to rotate back over. Smoke still at the top of middle. Innocent won't be able to push through because Fallen is waiting underneath at quad. Easily pops back out as they get in his line of sight, and it's down to just 1 remaining. Zen is all that's left. Penta fought valiantly, I have to say. An incredible comeback. Sloppy from SK, but you got to admire their mentality to do so against the world's best as SK take up round number 16 and the win and will go 1-0, but it's not like it would have gone.
No.
Or at least we would have expected it would have gone at 10-0.
That's a hollow victory, I have to say, for SK. The fact they had such a huge lead, sure. In the Swiss system, a win's a win, right? It doesn't really matter how it went down. But the fact they were 10-0 up and to come that close to losing it, I'd say they've got to look at themselves and realize what was the problem there. Why weren't the executions working? Hats off to Penta. To actually have that sort of comeback, essentially, like get that close to winning after being 10-0 down, I'm very impressed. They could cause some damage in this tournament. As we said, they're going to give SK a run for their money. I said double digits was possible. They almost won that game. Come down to 1 big round from Cold Zera, who actually managed to clutch it out twice in a row.
Did clutch it out twice in a row. Penta, it's mixed emotion for sure, because if they lose 16, okay, that's just crushing. But the fact that they came back, again, credit to the mentality. They fought in this. They never gave up. That's super encouraging for the rest of the event, but you still had the heartbreaking loss.
Well, we usually say, right, it's better off just to get 16-0'd and get it out the way. But I think in this instance...
Best of ones, though?
No, of course.
Yeah.
But like, I think in this sort of instance, like, when you sure, they came back and it was crushing towards the end, but it was promising. This is the world's best team right now. And to actually take them that close and have them that pressured as well, they won a round where they had Galils and CZs, right? They probably shouldn't have won that game. Penta were looking amazing towards the end there. SK were dropping off. They were almost crumbling. It's a Cold Zera arguably the world's best player, to actually come back and get 4 kills, 2 rounds in a row, 8-2, just to keep them alive there and break the money finally, and that's what got them over the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it was, I mean, Fallen is someone that you almost want to sit and be a fly on the wall and listen to after this game, because I'm sure he's going to be very upset with some of the way, I mean, again, missing Molotov, missing smokes, really poor one-by-one peaks at certain times, letting Penta control the pace. It's not at all what we're used to seeing from SK. So, again, group stage SK isn't almost the best form, but that's, when you're up like that, is a bit concerning. So with that said, let's throw it over to the desk.
Let's do it.
Thank you very much. Yes, Henry G and Sadakist, of course, returning for our next matchup, which is Big versus FaZe. Let's lock it down with our matchup panel for this one. I wonder what they've got to say for themselves as well. Spongy, is sloppy the right word to use for SK here?
Yeah, I think so. But, you know, I've been staying in bed the last couple of days trying to avoid a cold. But if getting a cold can be as good as that guy, maybe I should have just been out there drinking and having a good time and getting sick, because that guy's nuts. Yeah, I'm not saying he was drinking. What I meant was, hold up a second.
I think you should have been drinking and partying no matter whether you would get as good as cold or not, Chad, because even if you wouldn't, it would at least make everything easier.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely had another great game there, hasn't he? But at the same time,
okay,
at 10-0, what on earth is going on in Penta's world?
Let's be, before we get stuck there, let's just be realistic and just, this one's maybe more for Matt and Henry, you know? They're sitting there and they're saying Penta did a fantastic job and stuff, and SK looks sloppy, this, that, and the other. We know that SK already started poorly in the group stage of an event last week, but they've won 3 tournaments in a row now, right? Like, they are playing 4 tournaments in a row right now.
Well, because it's football as well.
I don't really want to count that, but sure, we can. The thing with these guys is, sure, it was a close match, but, like, and Cold Zero had to kind of pull them out of a hole, but these guys, they're nuts, right? We just need to make sure that we all cover that. There's nothing to worry about with SK. No one should be panicking.
Okay, all right. It's a good point to make, but at the same time, I think when we watch back these replays, you'll notice some of the reactions of both sets of players. Even at this stage, when it's 5-0, Fallen looked very angry, looked very upset as to what his team were doing. And actually, the other side of it, Penta looked broken. I mean, look, they look absolutely broken. So I'm with Henry on this one. To come back and put 13 rounds on the board against probably the best team on planet Earth, well, that's an amazing achievement.
It is, and I think Penta was frustrated because they were. I think they knew what was going to come from SK, the double up setup, the aggression in Banana, and they still weren't able to defend from it, right? And I think that's where all the frustration stemmed from. But finally, towards the end of that first half, those A executes that they've tried a couple of times and that SK was ready for, that finally started working for them. And they did manage to win the last 5 rounds, which proved to be, you know, a lot for them and something that they could work with in the second half. You would think, again, them winning pistol, but then losing the second round, that's it. That's where SK broke them, and that's where they're just going to close out the game. But again, Penta managed to claw their way back into the game, and Chad tweeted this out that SK's executes were sloppy in the second half, which was like, it was weird because they could get banana control without too much effort, and then you would see just the round fall apart from them. So that's something that's really uncharacteristic for SK Gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were a couple of individual pieces of brilliance from Cold Zero, particularly this round. I think there was a 4-man. Just pieces like that, bailing them out when they're they've got players across the board that can do that.
He had to do a lot, right? A lot of work there to get them across the line, the finish line, right? He's the one who won them that game. Sure, they had a fantastic lead. They started well. Then I don't know if they were getting cocky. I think they probably could have been more cocky on that CT side. If anything, they were letting themselves get executed on at that point, right? No. So maybe they should have looked and just said, "Hey, let's keep going with this aggression." But the T side is worrying. Like I want to say that the way that they approach that is one of the worst ways I've seen it approached in a long time, because their executes with mid control and banana control, you should be getting into the bomb site and getting the bomb down. It should never be like getting shut out like they were, and that's concerning. That's the one thing that's concerning. But you can fix executes. You can dry run, right? But you can fix it.
Yeah, but if anything, like a good sign for SK was that towards the end of the game, they did adapt. You could see how they were going for those contact plays, just grouping up. Okay, let's not throw in the smoke so that they can throw the incendiaries and counter flashes. Let's just group up, go for a contact play and get the early trade before the rotation comes in as well. And that's what brought them the rounds, or the first initial round. And then it was Cold Zero, with, I mean, 2 4K rounds in a row, basically doing everything by himself. He had 35 kills in this game. He had 120 ADR. Like, he had a monster performance in this game, and it was definitely needed for SK to beat Penta.
Okay, let's catch up with Fallen, who joins us now from the player area. Gabriel, thank you for joining us, and congrats on the first game. I don't know if you've managed to catch anything that the guys were saying. We sort of felt like maybe that was a bit of a sloppy performance from you after being 10-0 up.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, the T-side wasn't one of the best shows, but it's props to them as well. They played really well. We thought some rotations would happen on their CT side. That's how some strategies were based off, but they were not rotating as expected, so we lost some players during the first encounter during the executions. But a win is a win. I'm glad that we made it in the end.
Yeah, that's the thing with the majors, isn't it? You don't really care what the scoreline is. You just want to make sure you get the first win on the board.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. Like group stage on Swiss format is one of our biggest problems. In the last tournament, we lost 2 maps in the Swiss format group stage, and we won the playoffs. So group stage is scary.
Yeah, you had a good game yourself, obviously, but Cold Zero can't really let you go away without talking about the boy. He seems back on form in a big way right now. It's the perfect time, isn't it?
I think Cold Zero has most likely saved us in the second half. He had an amazing performance in the last 2 rounds. If I'm not wrong, he was able to... There was one round which was funny. I was like by his side, someone peeked from the corner on mid, and I was like, okay, I'm dead, and probably Cold Zero is going to die too. And then Cold Zero just turned and kills him, and kills one more, and then kills the 4th. I was like, all right, fall back A. Cold Zero has done everything by himself. I mean, that was impressive.
It's good to have someone like that on your team, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cold Zero is a monster.
Okay, we've got a couple of guys with some questions here. Yanko and Sponge are on the table as well.
I was just going to ask, a while ago you did it in an interview I was talking to. I can't remember rightly, my memory's terrible. But you said that you guys aren't really focusing on the other team so much. What you said just there, and like stuff that I saw on your T-pistol where you double naded through the window to get the guy crossing boiler and stuff, you've done your homework. Is that just something that you've done for the major, or have you been doing that in the lead-up events as well?
We normally watch every single team we're going to play. Even Space Soldiers, we lost for them. We were very prepared to play that map. But they showed up with some new stuff that we're not expecting. And it's sometimes it's dangerous to focus too much on your opponent.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because they don't have too much appearance on tournaments, and on the other hand, sometimes they just prepare for yourself, so they change a lot of stuff as well. So we're expecting something that they played against another team, but against you they have a different approach, so it can go very wrong. We had a good idea on what they want to do, how they like to take banana, for example. We knew how they like to secure B as well as CT. They're very passive. They don't fight too much for banana control. We knew some stuff from watching them in other games, and we expected to play Inferno as well.
Sweet.
Yeah, so towards the end of that game, in the second half, it seemed like you guys adjusted. Like you switched from trying to go for executes and go for a slow default. You were grouping up and going for contact plays. Was that just, you realizing, okay, maybe we're thinking too much about how they like to play. Let's just keep it simple and get the trades, and that's going to get us the rounds?
Yeah, so in my opinion, the pistol round, we should have won it. It was a 4v3 situation, and they managed to come to retake B. And then we won the hard eco because they were too cocky and pushing me and all those things, and Cold Zero punished them a couple times. And we won the 3rd round. And then there was one round, I remember, which I did a bad call, I guess. I had 3 guys, Banana, Fur, and Taco were boiler or something like that. And as we had Banana, I called them to come and do a B execution. But we took so long that on 25 seconds they smoked B, and it's mostly done after that. And that was a very bad round for us. One of the rounds we can't repeat if you want to win this tournament. And after everything was not working, we tried some things on A. We were expecting Crystal to go help his teammates on site instead of keeping an eye on the left side mid, but he didn't do it. So he was able to get some kills. And then after everything was not working, I just decided to change and change the way we're playing the T side. We just went for contact plays. The first round we went B, and we did a contact play there and got 2 kills. And then after that, I knew they would put so much more focus on Banana. We did a contact play mid and won both rounds. That was very important as well.
Okay, we're going to let you go, Gabriel. Thank you very much for joining us. Congrats on day 1. We'll see you tomorrow for number 2.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, sir.
Thanks.
There we go then, the captain and in-game leader for SK Gaming. They have won their first game of the day here at the PGL Major Krakow. Very important to get off to a winning start as well. We'll take a look at the scoreboard and talk about the MVP as we go along. It's interesting that this is the 3rd highest score of all time in a single match at a major from Cold Zero.
Statsman over here.
Incredible performance.
Yeah, well, like Fallen just said, he basically won them the game in the second. Well, To be able to put up a big boy performance like this, to get you over the line in the opening match, this is what you need from this guy, right? And that's why he's the #1 player in the world right now. At least he's arguably the #1 player.
Yeah, he's sort of bounced around that, hasn't he? In the past, we've probably talked about him like that in these terms 12 months ago at the major last year, and then has had a little bit of dip in form. It's good to see him come back, isn't it?
I mean, only slightly. They've had roster changes as well, you know, 2 big tournaments with Fox as a stand-in, so you're not going to have consistency in that sense, and it's very difficult when the team is inconsistent. Team, he's not a super aggressive player in his own right. He isn't the one going alone and making the plays. He works off of his teammates and what they're doing in the round as a team. So that's when he's at his best, is when the team is at his best, which is obviously very beneficial for both.
You could see that from the stats. He didn't actually have any opening kills, right? So if for him not to have any opening kills but still have that level of impact, it means he's winning the mid to late rounds for the team. And sure, entry frags are important. All kills are important. You need 5, right, to win the round. But he's in more crucial clutch situations, I suppose.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, we're heading to a break. Of course, our next matchup is a little while away. There is a new debutant in the team for Big, although they have 4 members in that team who have played at majors before. It's Big versus FaZe coming next, and apparently there's a surprise in store.
You probably thought I wasn't going to be at the major, didn't you? Well, you were wrong. You weren't wrong, actually, you were right. I'm definitely not in Poland right now, but I am at the major, and I might have something coming up for you later.
ล้างวนไปค่ะใช้บีเฟสตาสิก็เหมือนกันแหละเหมือนได้ไงนี่บีเฟสตาวิปโฟม CO2 หนาแน่นนุ่มจึงทำความสะอาดได้ล้ำลึกเปลี่ยนไหมบีเฟสตารายได้จากการเทรด Binary Option เริ่มต้นที่$300ต่อวันคาดคะเนอัตราสกุลเงินรายได้มั่นคงและถูกกฎหมายโบรกเกอร์ Olive Trade ขอแนะนำแพลตฟอร์มที่ดีที่สุดสำหรับการเทรดเทรดเริ่มต้นที่$1รับผลตอบแทนสูงสุด 90% มีตัวเลือกสำหรับเทรดมากมายเทรดด้วยบัญชีทดลองเต็มรูปแบบพร้อมเงินทุน$10,000ถอนเงินออกรวดเร็วโดยไม่มีค่าคอมมิชชั่นเริ่มอาชีพซื้อขายของคุณตอนนี้เลยและรับโบนัส 100% เมื่อคุณฝากเงิน
Exclusive black equalizer brightens dark scenes without overexposing bright areas. Use the S switch to quickly access the setting and switch between save modes. capture the pawn at e5. You lose your queen. Check. I think like a 40-year-old and...
Stashek, you could help in the kitchen instead of playing with that gizmo all the time.
She just won't let me play in peace. TP Link connects with passion.
Agent Lorraine Broughton, an expert in intelligence collection and hand-to-hand combat. We have a mission for you. Find out who's hunting down our operatives.
Shall we begin?
David Percival is your contact.
I'll help you with your bags. For God's sake.
Remember, trust no one.
Someone tried to set me up. But then you knew that, didn't you? MI6, CIA, everyone's involved. I'm impressed. You've got some balls breaking in here.
You should see my balls, then you'd be really impressed.
I'll take your word for it.
If I knew what I knew in the past, I would have been like that on your ass.
Oh my God, I think I love you.
That's too bad.
They have no idea he's that close. They're looking for more. That's a third one coming in. Looking for the quad killer. Nearly gets it. Yes, there's one headshot and there's another. Getting two big headshots. Looking for more. Oh my God! And he's gonna go on Team J or the round of the weekend.
A very warm welcome back to the city of Krakow in Poland for the PGL Major 2007. on Nico. They've had some fantastic results, winning Star Series, winning ECS Europe, and then finishing second in the Grand Finals as well. Top 4 at pretty much every event that they've had with Nico so far. They're on fire, really, in that sense of it, but still looking for that really big, like a really big championship win in front of a big crowd against a team who 6 months ago didn't even exist. So this matchup is fascinating for a number of ways.
Yeah, it is, and it's also the the differences in styles, right? Like Big is going to be that heavy tactical style as well, and FaZe is going to play a little bit looser and allow the skill to shine just a little bit more. But that's not to say they're deficient tactically. They still have Kerrigan, one of the better in-game leaders we have in the scene, which is quite cool. But yeah, that's going to be the really cool thing, because we saw Flipside at least able in the past, and at least what we saw this morning, able to negate some of that skill with their tactics. Can Big do the same thing? Can they actually achieve that and actually threaten FaZe just a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start with FaZe and take a look at their lineup. Natu, they have been in good form. They are considered to be one of the top 4 teams in the world right now, and certainly potentially top 3 here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for me, they are up there on the list of potential making all the way. But at the same time, you have to say, Cologne wasn't probably their best outing for sure. I mean, that's right before. No. I know I talked with Alu before Cologne, actually. He said all the focus is in Cologne, but at the major. So, I mean, could that be a factor? But then again, that's what everyone thinks. Everyone that went to that tournament would have to have focus on this. Yeah, it still made it pretty well.
And but a sluggish
exactly,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They struggled in the group phases going through 3-2, and they lost against Mouse Sports and they lost against Opting on Train. And then beat Glickwood, who's a team that hasn't been top team right in the recent history. So it wasn't a great performance for them, but in the big picture, if you look at the past 3 months, obviously they have to be one of the favorites.
Definitely a threat, and definitely start this match as a favorite, you would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially because I think that's that Cologne thing. The reason why it feels like we're a little bit down on them is just because I guess it'd be a product of their success, right? Like that SK FaZe matchup has been so exciting. It's been so close so many different times, and going into that when they got like 16-3 or 16-4 something on the first map, no one showed up on an individual level. Like none of the FaZe members were even in that game. Then you go over to Cash, closer game, but that was all thanks to Rain. He was the only one who really showed up in that match. So then you look at it and you're like, yeah, they get top 4, but it's not the same flair on that top 4 that we've seen at like when they make the finals of the other tournaments they've been to.
ไม่ดูหน้าไม่รู้เลยนะเนี่ย
If they'd done
ไม่บอกอายุนี่ไม่รู้เลยนะว่าอายุเท่าไหร่
We'd all be going, wow, brilliant, they've arrived. They've got a big team that can really do it.
ปกติ
So
มัน
it
ต้อง
just
ขึ้น
shows
แล้ว
the
ดิ
expectation level on these players has changed.
It just the fact of the matter is that these players, the intuition they have, individuals, the way they can play off each other is so good. A lot of that for plan situations, retakes. But then again, when you face someone like SK, in their case, they're the final boss in that sense because they are so good in that kind of a situation. So them going ahead against a team like Big, for example, I feel like they're always going to be on the driver's position in a lot of those situations.
Let's talk about Big. It's a lovely story. I do like the storyline behind them. They were nowhere.
Very romantic.
6-7 months ago, start of the year, I remember them turning up to DreamHack Leipzig and God B said to me, no, this is the team. This is the team I wanted to form before. It's the team I've always felt we could do well with. We've got firepower, we've got strategy, we're going to be a good team this year, and we're going to make a major by the summer. That was his goal.
For me, I think they've had the right approach. They've gone into it 6 months ago thinking we have to be good at least in 6 maps. So you'll always be in a situation where, especially climbing the ladder, you'll always have the opportunity to veto maps from your opponents that are their strengths instead of having to veto your weaknesses. So they've relentlessly just made sure they have a really, really good map pool. But now it's a different echelon. It's totally a different scale of teams, obviously. So it's going to be the first big test for them.
They will have sat there and watched Penta play SK. And I know it wasn't nice early on for them. It was 10-0. But actually, at the end of the game, they can sit there and go, well, we can hold a candle to Penta. We've had plenty of good games against them. We can beat them. So
if only translated that well.
I know it doesn't translate necessarily straightforwardly like that, but it must give them some karma at points if they like in their head they kind of go, well, if they can do that, we can play that well too.
I don't think that ever factors into you as a player. Like once you start getting into that slippery slope of saying, oh, we can beat this team and they can compete with the top teams, and so you kind of compare yourself to the top teams in that fashion. I think that's actually a really poor way to approach it. So and I doubt they have that mindset going in. I think the interesting thing, this team for the past 6 months, they've done everything right. They've done everything they needed to do. They proved that they're the top of the class when it comes to the second tier of teams. They've won all those kind of second tier events. They win the EU minor. They got second at MDL 2 Penta, and then they kind of went through the major qualifier, not with ease. They just dropped 1 map, but they looked good. So now it's that step up, and now this is where the weaknesses really get exposed, and this is where the strengths get questioned, where you see like what you've built upon. is it going to work moving forward, or is it just going to crumble down? And this is a whole new level of competition.
Two main factors that people bring up about Big, for those that are tuning in that are new to the team. The first is Godby and the strategy that he's employed. It's obvious that it's working for the team. Yeah. And the second one is, some people say they have a lack of firepower, but if they don't have a lack of firepower, it's because they have Tabson on the team, and he's had some monster performances recently.
Yes, but when you get to this level, you need more than one person, and the wrong person is stepping up to be it. It's Godby, who is the in-game leader, who is the master, the tactician, who is stepping up to be that second option for them. And that can be the case. Like, yes, it is great to have, and yes, you want the numbers out of your in-game leader, but they need a guy like Kiev, who's opping is the reason why they picked him up, how dynamic and how deadly they've seen it be online. It hasn't translated to the tournaments quite yet. They need a guy like Nex, who's like been living off potential for 2 years. They need him to step up. So, I mean, they have the firepower in theory. It just hasn't appeared quite yet, and that's where the tactics kind of bail them out.
I'm glad you've brought up Nex, because Nato, I was going to bring him up in the sense that you do still think of him as that guy that's got a lot of potential, but he's had a lot of potential for what seems like 3 years now. And actually, when you look at their roster, he's the one with the most experience at majors, which is astonishing. You think, that can't be right.
Yeah, but he's always been. Everyone, we always talk about it on the desks. You know, everyone thinks of him as having the capability of delivering numbers that his teams need. But unfortunately, you know, the consistency is not there for him. Whether it's about him individually not feeling well in these kind of scenarios where he's playing big tournaments, or if it's within the system, there things just don't go right. What is it? If he gets a bad start, he's now manages to get back into it. There's a lot of variables.
It's really interesting as well, because Nex was a player when he had that kind of reputation of being the next star and having all the potential, and that conversation started swirling is when he was under Godby, and when Godby left Mouse Sports, it's when Nex really plummeted, and then it led to his eventual departure of the team. So when he gets back with Godby, he had a pretty good start in this big team under Godby again. So it's like, okay, maybe Godby is the thing. And then on top of that, the tactics and the structure that you have, that you provide as an in-game leader, is what's supposed to allow players to be consistent, because you know kind of what's coming. You know at all times what you're supposed to be doing, what your role is within that framework. And it's just kind of very disappointing, I guess, is that he hasn't reached it. It's not all doom and gloom though. Let's focus on Tabson. He's quite good.
Yeah, I mean, fairly good results recently, you could say. I think that's a fair assessment.
He's just been breathtaking. He's one of the most exciting players I think we have in the scene at the moment. In terms of, and this is the big thing with him, is this team just seems so close, right? Like Godby, like Gia's guy who's always had a lot of question marks, but Godby is pretty adamant about the fact that he wants to play with Legia, which is really cool, which is another good story. But you know, it just is very interesting to see all that play out, because I think if you go around, there's not a lot of other teams that would take Legia on their team.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely there's a definite connection between those two players. They played in a number of teams together. We talk about team houses a lot, and Big are one of those that have got a team house. They're all together. There was that remarkable story, I think, where they all went out to the movies and ended up halfway through the movie just starting to talk Counter-Strike stats, which in my mind, I just go, okay, guys, we've had enough. We live together in the same house, for Christ's sake. Like, there's no need to take it to the movie set. But actually, they are literally living and breathing Counter-Strike for the last 6 months, and it's worked because it's got them to the major.
Kind of something you have to do, but at the same time, I feel like there needs to be a difference between your free time and the time you work, just to make it as effective as possible. You know, you want to make sure you're clearing your mind every now and again, and then you'll be more focused once the grind actually starts. But at the same token, you have to say, you know, living together is obviously going to be a massive advantage if you can do that. If you socially manage to click that well, that it doesn't really bother you to be spending that much time as a unit, because it gives you an opportunity to go through things in much more detail. It lets you schedule the day a lot better, and therefore you should be becoming a better team in a shorter time.
Jason, could you put up with team houses these days?
No, I personally couldn't.
I think the question was, could we put up with Jason in a team house?
Exactly. Absolutely not. But no, I mean, the big thing is, I mean, if you look at the teams who have made the team houses work, and you look at like SK living together when they moved over from the States, obviously, you know, that's the circumstance of just having to do that in order to get your name out there, to get onto that, you know, the tier 1 level, to be on the world stage in Counter-Strike. Big is a team as well that, you know, coming in, team houses can work if everyone is like, you know, if you have 5 players like Big does, who would like to live breathe and eat Counter-Strike, it's going to work. Like it just, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is.
Isn't it the same for SK in the sense that they've had a long way to travel, they're a long way from home, foreign land, foreign language, foreign food. They kind of got to stick together, haven't they? Yeah,
in that sense, within Counter-Strike, but I think they're also a team that has a pretty good grasp on, you know, having their own individual social life or whatever it might be outside of that. You know, I think they've kind of understood that, especially living together for what now 2 years. You kind of eventually learn how to make that work. And yeah,
you have to.
Yeah, and the hard work from Big, even if it's not in a team house, I mean, it's admirable, right? Because that's what I think a lot of people don't notice about professional teams is obviously it's hard to track the work it takes to become a professional player and to become a team that's competing at a major, but you have to put in that much work. Like, and it usually requires all 5 players to put in that much work, but definitely you need people putting in, you know, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you know, before these events, and even leading up to it, just to get on the team, you have to do the same thing.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the map vetoes, which are incoming fairly shortly, and take a look at the maps that they could play and probably won't play as well. I mean, when you look at it, Big won't play Nuke, but the other 6 are all up for grabs.
I think if you're Big, you want to get this over to like a cache. I think would be kind of ideal, because here's the thing: FaZe has this massive advantage. Their top 4 maps, Mirage, Inferno, Train, and Overpass, they have 11 losses on those maps. 10 of them are to SK and Astralis, and then the one is that little guy about you know, Optic Gaming. So we won't worry about that little guy. We'll take that one out of there. But
it's an outlier.
You're not going to win on those 4 maps. So if you just look at the stats, you just see, and you're just like, FaZe just doesn't lose those maps to teams who aren't the best in the world. So all of a sudden, it just shrinks massively, right? Cache is a map they showed that they could play. I think you kind of want to aim towards that direction.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. On the other hand, it's interesting to see from FaZe point of view. I think Taz put it very well in his interview when he said, you know, if you're facing someone like FaZe, you know, they might get overconfident when it comes to veto sometimes. But at the same time, they've seemingly steer away from the likes of Cobble and Mirage a lot of the time, the best of ones. But then again, they do have a pretty wide map pool and still an advantage going into this. But then again, it is Big, and we know the preparation that Gabi is going to be putting into it. Now, does theory and actual gameplay work hand in hand is a very different thing, though.
Yeah, okay. We're going to get more thoughts from both of our panel members in just a moment. Vito, as I said, is not too far away. I'm hearing that the players are getting towards heading to the lobby. So before we get there, why don't we check in with the surprise that we showed you during the break? We teased it, but here's the real deal. The Chronicles of Thorin.
Big is the brainchild of Gob, and this is an individual who's one of the legendary in-game leaders for 1.6, and in CSGO over the last 2 or so years has really established himself again as one of the better in-game leaders in the scene. And the key thing about the Big team was these are players that Gob has pretty much hand-picked. Like, he wants this player to play this particular role, and he wants this kind of composition in the team in general. And so they're a team that really do initially live and die based on this tactical approach that he's using. And then as they've built the team up, they've gotten to the level where they can play against the lower tier opponents, and they have this very tactical style. It is very much old school Counter-Strike in terms of how to create space for the star player, how to take over an area for a map, lots of creative smokes and Molotovs to get people into position. And so he's using a lot of kind of the old school strengths, but then with a newer group of players, a bunch of players, some of them younger players, some of them players who haven't had experience at the highest level. And so it's actually kind of a surprise to many that Big's even at the major. This is a team where they were perhaps borderline at the qualification stage. People didn't know if they'd make it in, if they wouldn't. They've looked good at times early on, and then they've also had times where they looked kind of weak as well and didn't look like they were going to become a top team. And so the main star player in Big is Tabson, and he's a player who's been around the German scene. He played with Gobby in NRG a year ago, and he's someone where he was always a decent player, like an average to above average player, but he's never at the level that he's displayed over the last sort of 3 or 4 months, because now Tabson has developed into a really high level player, and he's actually someone where it's not just his skill level, but his understanding of his style of play. It looks like he's comfortable at all times that he's playing, and he understands the range that he's going to take a fight at and how to play against specific types of opponent. And so really, him coming forwards as the star player of this team and the guy who consistently puts up the numbers has given the team a level of routine that they didn't have when they initially put this composition together. So you know when you play against Big that you're going to have difficulties dealing with Tabson. Now, beyond that is where the team has some more issues, because as a team, they're good and they have a good approach and they know the tactics they want to run, and Godby is doing a good job of calling the tactics, but it's where that secondary source of firepower comes from in Big. That's the real question that they still are trying to figure out, and currently there is no kind of set solution to, because on the one hand, you have Nex, and he is someone where playing with Godby in Mouse Sports almost 2 years ago now, he really was someone who was a rising talent. He looked like he was going to one day be one of the best players in the world. He had a very high skill level, his aim was very good, and he would have explosive games. But his problem was that always happened in the lineup that had Godby as the main in-game leading presence. Once Nico came into the lineup, Nex really had difficulties. When he wasn't the main star of the team anymore, he had a lot of problems being effective in games, and especially he seemed to have some kind of psychological difficulty in playing in the big games. When he got to majors, when he got deep in big tournaments, he just wouldn't show up as a player. Whereas if you put him in a smaller tournament and against tier 2 opposition, he would look fantastic. So at the moment in big, even in some of those tier 2 compositions, Nex has been kind of hit and miss, hasn't really been there. So they're looking, is he going to be the secondary star? They have Keith, who's someone who came up last year in alternate attacks and a main AWPer. The problem is he's not a dominant AWPer. He's not the guy you give the weapon to every round and you go and he creates picks and gets multiple kills. Godby even says the way they're using him within the team is for very specific kills and in very specific areas of the game. So I feel like Big is a team that has a good team concept. They're just stretched a bit thin, because on the one hand, they must have that star power performance from Tabson. Godby has to call a good game, but then in terms of where the rest of the firepower comes from, that's where the question marks have been. And unless they can find some answers to that, they're going to have a real tough time when they go up against those elite level teams in the game, the FaZe of the world. Even teams like North should have the firepower to put Big in a difficult position. So they're a team where they know their win conditions, but they have to solely rely upon them if they're going to do a lot.
The thoughts of Thorin on Big, the brand new team. For the first time they've qualified for a major. We're going to drop you into the vetoes very shortly, because they'll be underway between these two. And quick reactions to thoughts? I mean, pretty much mirrored what you guys have already said.
Yeah, it sounded like you listened to this segment, didn't it?
They have 2-star players. They need 3 or 4 to be able to qualify out of these group stages in Swiss. Do you think it helps them a little bit though, Jason, having Swiss?
Yeah, certainly. But still, I don't think it's going to help them necessarily here against a team like FaZe. I think it's going to help them moving forward against other tier 2 teams when you can ban it down to a map specifically that you want. I think FaZe just has too big of an advantage in the map pool. So there's only so much help that can give you, right? You only have a certain number of bans, and you know, especially if they go Team B, they don't even get to pick the map. So I mean, at very least, FaZe can veto this in a way that's going to provide them a map that they're going to be very, very comfortable on.
Okay, you can see FaZe getting ready to do the picks and bans right now. They are going to go through the bans. So
Nico already FaZe
removed the first 2, and they're going to remove Cobble and
That's a permaban for FaZe.
Yeah.
And yeah, I said Cash might be the best outcome for Big, and obviously that's taken away right now. So that's Nuke, I believe, taken out of it.
FaZe นะครับได้แบน Cobblestone แล้วก็แบน Cash ไปนะครับส่วนทีม Big แบน Nuke ครับกับมิลาจ
So it's going to go to Train.
แล้วก็แบนเป็น Overpass ไป
Here's the thing, Big as well has a huge problem.
แมปนะครับ
Mirage Inferno
รวม
Cobblestone
เป็น
Nuke
5 แม
obviously
ปครับ
but they don't have any wins versus other teams at majors on those 3 maps. So it's like, where do you take this? Especially now that Cash is removed. I thought they might be able to get that one because FaZe like spent a time like right around Star Ladder. They were trying to incorporate that into the map pool, and it never really
เลือก
came.
Inferno
That
ครั
one
บ
is
ผม
going to be
Inferno.
แม่
I did think that
Inferno
they
อีก
wouldn't
แล้ว
give Big the chance to play Train, which they do like, and they have played an awful lot of. And so they're going to end up on Inferno. I guess that's probably okay for Big though.
Yeah, I mean, they
haven't played it a huge amount of times, but they seem
yeah, exactly. It's a lot about map control. It's a lot about, again, Banana is going to be the vocal point of the map.
น่าจะได้เริ่มการแข่งขันอย่างเป็นทางการแล้วกับรายการ PGL Major 2017 นะครับ
this map on the FaZe point
กั
of
บ
view.
ทีม
So he needs to
FaZe
be very
Can
dynamic
พบ
with
กับ
the
ที
aggression
ม
that he showcases. I think
BAG
that could
นะ
be
ครับ
a massive issue for Big. So like the Big really has to dissect their defaults and the way they approach the map
น่า
into
จะ
small
ลิงก์น่า
segments
จะพร้อม
into
แล้วนะ
taking
ครับ
the parts of the map for them to be able to
คอมเมนต์ ไลฟ์
execute
แล้ว
the sites. And that's going to be a hurdle on its own.
Yeah, I mean, does this end up coming down to a battle of the AWPers?
No, but I think one if it is
โอเคฮะเราจะไปดูกันในเกมนะครับว่าคู่นี้จะสนุกสักแค่ไหนนะครับผมขอใส่หูฟังข้างเดียวนะเผื่อบางทีแบบผมพูดดังไปนะเอาละครับผมระหว่างที่รอนะครับเรามาพูดกันสักเล็กน้อยนะครับนี่คือรายการ PGL Major Krakow นะครับทีม FaZe พบกับทีม BIG ครับโอเคเรามาดูไลน์อัพของทั้ง2ทีมอีกสักครั้งหนึ่งนะครับสักนิดหน่อยนะครับมีทาง FaZe Clan จะเป็นอาลูนะครับก็จะมาคาริแกนและก็เรนแล้วก็เรนนะครับต่อไปทีมก๊อปบีไม่ใช่สิทีมบิ๊กนะครับจะเป็นก๊อปบีแท็บเซนนะฮะเน็กลีจิก้าแล้วก็คีฟนะครับเราจะไปดูกันว่าใครจะนิ่งกว่ากันนะครับเอาละฮะยินดีต้อนรับทุกคนอย่างเป็นทางการเข้าสู่การแข่งขัน Strike Global Offensive ในการแข่งขัน PGL League Major นะครับ 2017 ณ เมืองโปแลนด์นะครับตอนนี้ก็วอร์มอัพกันไปก่อนนะระหว่างรอเดี๋ยวผมขอฟังเสียงตัวเองหน่อยดีกว่าว่ามันชัดเจนหรือเปล่านะครับเห็นหรือเปล่านะครับฮัลโหลเทสเห็นหรือเปล่านะครับฮัลโหลเทสฮัลโหลเทสเห็นหรือเปล่านะครับโอเคน่าจะชัดเจนแล้วนะครับสำหรับเสียงค้างหรือเปล่าเอ่ยเอาละฮะค้างเวรกรรมโอเคเขายังวอร์มอัพกันอยู่นะครับ เสียงเกมประมาณนี้แล้วโอเคจะได้ดูกันโล่งๆสบายหูสบายตาหน่อยโอเคฮะทางทีมฟาเซ่แคร์จะได้บุกจะได้เป็นฝ่ายตั้งรับและทีมบิ๊กจะเป็นทีมบุกนะครับเป็นโจนั่นเองอาลูครับแท็บเซนแง้มมาครับแง้มแล้วจะเจอไหมครับแท็บเซนเริ่มแง้มมาอพาร์ตแล้วนะครับเพื่อนสโมกมาปิดพิษเป็นที่เรียบร้อยครับแล้วเน็กกับเพื่อนอีก1 คนกำลังเข้ามาทางคอนเนคเตอร์ครับผมแล้วเข้า A มา3 ตัวครับจากทางทีมบิ๊กเข้ามาแห่เข้ามาเลนเฮดช็อตไปได้1 เน็กเก็บคิโรชิมาและแท็บเซนยิงเฮดช็อตเรนไปแล้วลีจิก้าเก็บคาริเกนแล้วลูยิงเฮดช็อตลีจิก้าไปลูเข้ามาครับจังหวะนี้2-2แล้วเฮดช็อตแท็บเซนไปแล้วนิโกเฮดช็อตก๊อปบีแล้วเน็กโดนลุมนะไม่ไหวฮะโดนนิโก้ยิงเฮดช็อตไปครับผมแต่ก็ได้อยู่นะครับสำหรับทางทีมบิ๊กก็ถือว่าได้วางระเบิดนะครับทางฝั่ง CT บายเป็นฟาร์มัสกับ M4 แล้วก็ปืนกลเบาเป็น MP7 นะครับมี Max 7แล้วก็ MCA4 นะครับส่วนทางบิ๊กนี่ก็น่าจะวายแค่ P350 P250 นะครับกับ Desert Frostbite นั่นเองนะครับจะ P250 Power หรือเปล่าฮะแถบเป็นแง้มเข้ามาในอพาร์ตเมนต์ครับไม่น่าจะเจอใครครับเพราะเขาอยู่ในบอมกันหมดเลยเขาทิ้ง A ไว้3นะยืนระเบียง1แถบเซนฮะลีกิจ้าแถบเซนแง้มออกมาไม่เจอฮะแล้วทางฝั่งนู้นครับทางอารูสโมกปิดคอนเนคเตอร์ไปแล้วแลบออกมายิงอารูโดนไปนิดนึงครับสะกิดเท้าไปหน่อยแถบเซนยังแง้มอยู่ฮะแง้มยังไม่มีใครกล้าออกนะครับยังแง้มแงะกันอยู่ครับทางคีฟนี่ก็ยังแงะบานาน่าอยู่อารูนี่ดักเลยครับดักหน้าไลบรารีเลยกันในนั่นเองครับสโมกปิดไปสำหรับ คิโรชิมะที่ระเบียงแล้วโถมเข้ามาอีก1 รอบแล้วโดนเลนครับเฮดช็อตแทบเซนแล้วเลนทริปเปิลเฮดช็อตจากดับเบิลเฮดช็อตลิจิจ้าไปแล้วเลนไปอีก1กับอารูครับเป็นเลนครับทริปเปิลคิวกับอารูครับดับเบิลคิว2-0ครับฟาซี่แคนขึ้นนำเขาจะต้องแก้เกมอย่างไรครับ BIG ถึงจะสามารถตีไข่แตกได้นะครับแล้วเขาได้ฟอสบายมานะครับไม่ใช่ฟอสบายเต็มนะเพราะว่าเขาได้วางครับมาเป็น AK2 ฮะ UMP 452แล้วคาริว1ครับแล้วแง้มเหมือนเดิมครับแถบเซนเป็นอะไรกับอพาร์ตเมนต์หรือเปล่าฮะเขามาแง้มทุกตาเลยครับค่อยๆแงะไปไม่เจอใครครับคีปก็แงะเหมือนกันแล้วแถบเซนสโมกไปครับไม่รู้สโมกไปไหนคาริเกนฟรีไฟล์ไปครับไม่น่าจะโดนใครครับเพราะเขากันในเหมือนเดิมครับมีคนยืนระเบียงอีก1คิโรชิมะแล้วแถบเซนฮะเหมือนเดิมครับเหมือนตาเมื่อกี้เลยแง้มเจอไฟฮะโอ้ไปเหลือไป30ครับโอ้โหนี่คือเกม Best of One ครับแถบเซนคีปสโมกไปปิดทางด้านคอนเนคเตอร์ทางด้านซ้ายแล้วเรนเฮดช็อตแท็บเซนแล้วแท็บเซนโอ้ไม่ไหวฮะโดนเลนเก็บไป2ครับแล้วอารูเก็บคืนให้เพื่อนไปอีก2คนครับแล้ว next ก็ไม่รอดครับคาริแกนเฮดช็อตไม่ใช่เฮดช็อตนะครับจะเฮดช็อตอย่างเดียวเลยฟาซี่แคน3บิ๊กเจจี0ครับ3-0เห็นได้ชัดเลยว่าฟาซี่แคนนั้นได้เปรียบอย่างเห็นได้ชัดเพราะว่าฟาซี่แคนนั้นอยู่ CT ซ้ายนะครับ CT ซ้ายจะได้เปรียบในการกันมากกว่านะครับให้ผมตีเป็นเปอร์เซ็นต์ก็น่าจะเป็น60-40นะครับความเป็นไปได้60ในการกันนะครับอีก40ในการบุกของโจรนะครับแล้วอารูแง้มมาโดนตอดไปฮะแล้วอารูโดนก๊อปปี้เก็บเฮดช็อตแล้วเลนก็เก็บก๊อปปี้ไปเทคไปคนละ1-1แล้วทีก้าเข้ามาก็ไม่ไหวครับโดนคิโรจิมะเก็บไปฮะแล้ว next แท็บเซนอีกแล้วฮะแต่คราวนี้เขามาไลบรารีครับแล้วเขาจะเห็นไหมครับคาริแกนยังไม่เห็นนะครับควันบังอยู่แล้วยังไงครับควันยังบังอยู่นะครับแล้วเขาน่าจะได้ยินเสียงนะครับแต่แท็บเซนถอยไปแล้วแท็บเซนหลังเปิดหรือเปล่าโอ้โหแท็บเซนตายฮะโดนคาริแกนยิงไปแล้วคิโรจิมะเฮดช็อต next แล้วคีปเก็บเฮดช็อตเรนไปแล้วก็คิโรจิมะเทรดคีปไปอีก1เป็น4-0ฟาเซ่สุดยอดมากเลยครับตอนตรงนี้เทรดกันไปเทรดกันมาแล้วก็เป็นฟาเซ่แคนที่ได้แต้มไปนะครับ4-0ฟาเซ่ขึ้นนำครับแท็บเซนอีกแล้วแท็บเซนนี่เขาจะเป็นจะแวะโรงแรมนะจะไปอพาร์ตเมนต์ซะส่วนใหญ่นะไม่รู้ติดใจอะไรนะหรือว่าเขาอาจจะเล่นตำแหน่งนี้อยู่แล้วเจาะพวกอพาร์ตเมนต์นี้อยู่ในช่วงการแจกจ่ายระเบิดกันอยู่นะครับระเบิดไฟระเบิดแฟลชระเบิดเนตปากันไป next เนตไปไม่โดนใครไฟไป2ฮะไม่เจอใครเหมือนกันอารูบอกเพื่อนโยกแล้วครับ next ก๊อปปี้ครับยังไม่สโมกนะครับเก็บไว้ก่อน สโมกแล้วนะครับสโมกไปน่าจะปิดทาง CT side ปิด CT side เรียบร้อยน่าจะเข้า B ครับดูจากรูปการแล้วง้างระเบิดรอแล้วครับสโมกปิด construction แล้วคีฟฮะเข้าแล้วครับก๊อปบีเข้ามาครับจับมือใครไม่ได้สักทีฮะโดนนิโกเก็บไปแล้วแท็บเซนครับเก็บคืนได้นิโกเฮดช็อตแล้วก๊อปบีเฮดช็อตฟรีแกนแล้วอาลูยังไงฮะเจอลุม2ดิจิก้าเก็บอาลูไปแล้วก๊อปบีฮะดักซีทีไซด์คิโรจิมะเรนน่าจะเซฟกันแล้วนะครับสถานการณ์นี้น่าจะต้องเซฟครับเพราะว่าตาต่อไปนั้นก็อาจจะแห้งนะครับว่า 4-0 แล้วแม่คิดว่านิโก้จะเก็บหมดแล้วนะเมื่อกี้แต่เขาเก็บไปได้แค่ตัวเดียวแล้วก็โดนเพื่อนแล้วก็โดนอีกฝั่งหนึ่งเทรดไปแล้วคิโรจิมะยังไงฮะโดนก๊อปปี้เก็บไปแล้วจะโผล่ไหมเรนเพื่อนบอกอย่าโผล่เลยเดี๋ยวตายแบบกรูฮะ BIG ครับตีไข่แตกเป็น4-1ลีกิจ้าอ่านยากเหลือเกินก๊อปบี้อัลลูออกมาตัดไม่ได้ฮะโดนแฟลชขาวใสไล่สิวไปแล้วแห่กันเข้ามา2ตัวอย่างนี้ครับอัลลูต้องถอยฮะอัลลูขาวอีก1ทีแล้วแท็บเซนไถเข้ามาครับเก็บไปแล้วเคฟเก็บเรนไป2ตัวครับทีมทีไทยนี่เสียไป2คนแล้วนะครับเสียอาลูกับเรนไปแล้วแท็บเซนยังดักอยู่นะครับ next วางระเบิดเป็นที่เรียบร้อยส่วนนิโก้นี่ผีเฝ้าบีนะครับยืนขาตายเลยแท็บเซนไม่น่าจะเจอใครครับเขาเซฟอีกแล้วนะครับ next เดินล่าครับล่าท้ามันจะอยู่แล้วสเปรย์โดยลีจิจ้าสเปรย์ไปไม่เจอใครฮะแต่น่าจะรู้ว่าเขาอยู่บานาน่าแล้วจะยิงกันโดนไหมวันนี้ควันยังปิดอยู่เลยเอาแล้วโดนแล้วโอ้ไม่ตายครับ4-2ฟาเซ่ยังนำอยู่นะครับเรนเคฟมือออปเปอร์ของทีมบิ๊กนะครับเขายังเล็งอยู่ฮะแล้วออกมาไม่เห็นครับแล้วโอ้ไฟมันร้อนเหลือเกินโอ้ยเหลือ21เท่ากับก๊อปบีต้องถอยออกมาครับโดนไฟเล่นไฟไหม้ตีนนะแล้วแท็บเซนครับแลบเข้าไปในอพาร์ตเมนต์แล้วนิโก้ยิงอะไรไม่รู้ครับเคฟดันมาไม่เจอครับแท็บเซนมาอีกแล้วครับเจ้าเก่าเจ้าประจำสำหรับอพาร์ตเมนต์จะมิดครับโดยลีจิจ้าสเปรย์ไปไม่เจออะไรทั้งสิ้นได้แต่ยิงกำแพงเท่านั้นฮะเคฟแล้วเคฟยังแง้มแต่เขาสโมกมาแล้วครับโดยนิโก้น่าจะ เขาน่าจะได้ยินเสียงว่ามีคนเดินมานะครับเวลาตอนนี้เหลืออยู่30 วินาทีเขาต้องเข้าทำแล้วครับแล้วก๊อปบี้คาริเกนก๊อปบี้ดีจ้าเฮดช็อตคาริเกนแล้วนี้ก็เก็บเคปไปแล้วลีกิจ้าโอ้หงายท้องครับโดนลูเก็บไปฮะโดยอัลเปอร์แล้วเข้าทาง B ครับขาวทุกคนนะแล้วเน็กเฮดช็อตนิโก้ไปแล้วอาลูครับอาลูไม่ไหวนะฮะโดนเน็กยิงไปครับเหลืออีก2 คนครับคิโรจิมะกับเรนแล้วเน็กเก็บคิโรจิมะเรนคนสุดท้ายครับnext แท็บเซนและก๊อปปี้นะครับเหลือ3 คน one on 3แล้วไม่โดนนะโอ้โห next นะครับเก็บเรนไปด้วยสกอร์4-2มีการขอโหวตไทม์เอาท์กันเกิดขึ้นนะครับจากทีม FaZe แคลน Time Tacticalก็อย่าลืมนะใครที่เข้ามาดูอยู่ก็กดติดตามไว้นะครับจะได้เป็นกำลังใจกับคนภาคต่อไปนะครับผมหัดภาคมาเรื่อยๆนะจนกว่าผมจะพัฒนาให้มันดีขึ้นแล้วก็พัฒนาพวกเซตอัพไปด้วยในตัวนะตอนนี้ก็ยังจะเป็นแบบแมนนวลอยู่นะกดแท็บเอานะอาจจะขัดใจหลายๆคนนะแมนนวลเกินไปนะผมเป็นแคสเตอร์แบบบ้านๆนะโอเคเกมเริ่มกันต่อนะครับการแข่งขันระหว่าง FaZe แคลนกับ BIG ในรายการ PGL Tournament Major 2017นิโคโดนเนตรู้สึกว่าเขาจะอัด B แล้วนะครับแล้วแฟดออกไปเคไม่มีอะไรฮะนิโก้นี่ขึ้นชื่อเดเซอร์ตเลยนะครับพีไฟไปครับกำแพงทั้งนั้นล้วนๆไม่โดนอะไรเลยแล้วยังไงครับ next คาริแกนแลบออกมามีคนเห็นนะครับเขาจะเซตระเบิดกันแล้วครับผมแล้วเคฟเซตระเบิดแล้วครับสโมกดีครับแล้วยังมีคนเนียนอยู่ในสโมกครับคาริแกนเนียนอยู่ในสโมกแล้วเห็นท่าไม่ดีถอยครับไม่มีเกราะด้วยนะครับแล้วเขาโยกกลับมาที่บอม A ครับแล้วคิโรจิมะไม่ไหวนะต้องวิ่งถอยครับเช็คแล้วเก็บเซนครับเก็บอลูไปแล้วคิโรจิมะเฮดช็อตคีปแล้วแท็บเซนเฮดช็อตคิโรจิมะก๊อปบีเก็บเลนไปครับหลังขาดไปดีจีเก็บระเบิดมาวางแล้วแท็บเซนเฮดช็อตนิโคแท็บเซนนี่ตัวเก็บแล้วลีกิจ้ายิงคาริเกนหลังขาดไปสกอร์เป็น4-4 Family Game เคฟมือสไนแห่งบิ๊กเลงครับแล้วไม่ทันสงครามระเบิดอีกรอบนึงครับไฟไปแทบเซนก็พีไฟมั่งฮะไม่โดนใครเลยปาระเบิดไปยัดเตาบอยเลอร์ไป1 ทีแล้วเขาจะปาสูตรครับปาไปน่าจะปิดคอนเนคเตอร์นะครับ มีคอนเนคเตอร์จริงๆด้วยครับแล้วปิดเรียบร้อยครับแล้วเข้าฉีดเข้ามาทางด้านขวาครับแท็บเซนเบรกอยู่เบรกเพราะว่าใจคอไม่ค่อยดีฮะคีปก็ยังค้ำอยู่แท็บเซนครับแล้วเขาก็ถอยออกมาครับน่าจะดึงเกมครับเล่นเกมช้าส่วนใหญ่ทีม BAG นี่จะเน้นเจาะไปทาง A ซะมากกว่านะครับสโมกไป2 ลูกครับน่าจะไปปิดทางคอนเนคเตอร์ที่เชื่อมจากทาง CT แล้วนิโก้ครับนิโก้ยิงเคฟไปโอ้โหแล้วลีกิจ้าสโมกไม่ใช่ไฟไปบอยเลอร์บาคานี่ครับแล้วคิโรจิมะถอยออกมาครับแล้วอารูตัดก๊อปปี้ไปแล้วก็คิโรจิมะเก็บลีกิจ้าแล้วยังไงต่อครับถอยครับบอมตกแล้วแท็บเซนบอกเพื่อนถอยดีกว่าเพื่อนแล้วก็เวลาหมดไปสกอร์เป็น5-4นี่ฟาเซ่ขึ้นนำอีก1 ครั้งครับรู้สึกว่าเขาจะเน้นเจาะไปทาง A ซะส่วนใหญ่นะสำหรับทีมบิ๊กจะมีอยู่ประมาณตาหนึ่งนะครับที่เขาเจาะ B ส่วนใหญ่จะไป A หมดเลยนะครับเขาน่าจะเตรียมแผน A มาซะส่วนใหญ่นะหรือไม่ก็เขาอ่านเกมว่า A น่าจะหลวมสุดนะครับแล้วนี้โกตัดลีกิจ้าไปครับ1 คนแล้ว next โดนไฟเบรกอยู่ไปไม่ได้บอกเพื่อนถอยแล้วเคฟนะยังดันยังไอ้นี่อยู่อะไรวะค้ำให้เพื่อนอยู่นะ นึกค้ำไม่ทันก๊อปบีครับเพื่อนสโมกแล้วครับสโมกปิดไม่ใช่ครับทีม CT สโมกปิด B ไซด์ไปแล้วนะครับน่าจะถ่วงเวลาแล้วไฟครับน่าจะไฟสูตรครับไฟสูตรไปครับแฟดนิโก้สโมกไขว้ไปครับปิด CT น่าจะเฟกครับเฟกหรือจริงไม่น่าเฟกครับแล้วนิโก้เก็บ next ไปตัด next ไปได้1 แล้วไฟมันร้อนเหลือเกินก๊อปปี้บอกไฟมันร้อนเหลือเกินนะแล้วอารูระเบิดก๊อปปี้เก็บไปแล้วแท็บเซนเฮดช็อตคาริแกนอารูเก็บคิดแล้วอารูเป็นดับเบิลคิวไปแท็บเซนขอเวลานอกอีกแล้วครับจากทีม BAG น่าจะต้องจูนแผนกันใหม่ครับสำหรับการเข้าทำของทีม BAGโอเคครับเริ่มกันอีกครั้งหนึ่งนะครับฟาซี่ยังขึ้นนำอยู่อารูออกมาตัดอีกแล้วครับจะได้ไหมครับสักตัวหนึ่งไม่น่าจะได้ครับเขาเทมาทำบานาน่าอีกแล้วโอ้โหนี่ก็มันเจ็บเหลือเกินฮะโดนระเบิดไป2 ลูกคาริแกนคิโรจิมะมันบูสต์ขึ้นไปยังไงวะเนี่ยโอ้เป็นแท็กติกที่เยี่ยมเลยครับแท็บเซนอพาร์ตเมนต์คนเดิมคือแท็บเซนนะครับลีจิก้าแท็บ เซนพีไฟไปไม่โดนอะไรเลยครับคลิปแท็บเซนมาอีกแล้วครับแง้มเหมือนเดิมแง้มจะเจอคิโรจิม่าไหมครับอ้าวสโมกอย่างนี้ครับสโมกปิดพิษแล้วเลนดับเบิลช็อตดับเบิลคิวไปแล้วลิจิก้าเฮดช็อตเรนแล้วลิจิก้าเฮดช็อตฮิโรชิมาไปอีกเป็นดับเบิลคิวnext แล้วไม่ได้ฮะแล้วลิจิก้าเก็บอันลูไปฮะ8สูดไปโดนเพื่อนโอ้โหโดนเต็มๆครับคาริแกนยังอยู่ในพิษอยู่แง้มค่อยๆแง้มเขาโลมากครับลิจิก้าโดนยิงหลังขาดไปเน็กไปแล้วเขาต้องออกครับแล้วก็เป็นเน็กเก็บคาริแกนไปเดี๋ยววันออนวันแล้วไม่ทันนะนิโก้แม่จะบีฮอปหนีครับเขาไวกว่าจริงๆครับแม่6-5ครับผมตอนนี้สกอร์ก๊อปบีครับผมมาบานาน่าอีกแล้วครับแล้วยังไงดีคาริแกนยัดเข้ามาอย่างนี้ครับโดนไฟเน็กตายไปมันร้อนเหลือเกินแล้วยังไงอันนี้โกเหลือยนเดียวแล้วครับในบีเพื่อนกำลังโยกมาช่วยครับมาพอดีครับอาลูมีการกระโดดเช็คครับเอาละอาลูมาอย่างนี้ครับเขาจะแง้มออกไปไหมเขาอยู่กัน5คนโอ้โหเก็บอาลูไปแล้วนิโก้ยิงท็อปบีไปแล้ว next headshot นิโก้เขายึดบอมบีแล้วร้อยแล้วครับผมก็เซตติ้งระเบิดเรียบร้อยเหลือคิโรจิม่ากับเรนแม่ต้องยกให้ next เลยนะครับที่เข้าตัดสินใจเข้ามาได้อย่างแม่นยำมากครับที่เหลือก็น่าจะเซฟปืนไปมีการโยนปืนเล่นครับโยนปืนทิ้งแล้วแท็บเซนมาเช็คครับยังหาไม่เจอ1คนนับเลนหลังขาดแล้วคิโรจิม่าจะรอดไหมไม่รอดครับลีกิจ้าครับเก็บหมดครับเก็บไปเลยทั้งทีมแม่ไม่ให้ได้เหลือปืนกลับไปรอบหน้าเลยนะครับแล้วฟาเซ่แคนก็ต้องฟอร์สบายหรือว่าเขาจะอีโคครับผมน่าจะเป็นอีโคราวจากทางฟาเซ่แคนแท็บเซนนักแง้มครับแล้วลัชมิดมานิโก้เฮดช็อตก๊อปปี้ไปครับแล้วดันมาจังหวะนี้แท็บเซนเก็บไป1แล้วเน็กดับเบิลคิวไปแท็บเซนเก็บไป2-3โว้เกือบอีโคดีครับแต่ไม่สามารถสู้ปืนเขาได้เพราะว่าไม่มีเกราะนะแม่มันผัดกันแพ้ขัดกันชนะมันตึงเหลือเกินคู่นี้ไม่ธรรมดานะครับคู่นี้เป็นคู่ที่น่าจับตามองนะครับตาจับตูดจับหำเลยแท็บเซนคนเดิมฮะแง้มอพาร์ตเมนต์สโมกไปปิดคอนเนคเตอร์ทางด้านซ้ายปาเนตอัดเข้าไป อารูแล้วก๊อปบีฮะจะเห็นคิโรจิมาไหมฮะคิโรจิมาขาวครับโอ้ก๊อปบีเฮดช็อตแล้วเรนเก็บ2ครับแล้ว next ยิงอารูทะลุรูไปฮะก๊อปบีไหลลงมาครับตอนนี้คาริแกนยิงคีบไปแล้วก๊อปบีเก็บเรนในเอไซด์ไปได้แล้วเหลือคาริแกนครับคาริแกนโดน next head shot แล้วนิโก้1-2นิโก้เขายังไม่เห็นนะครับแล้วควันไปครับจังหวะนี้เขาจะออกหรือไม่อยู่ในเอไซด์2ตัวครับแล้วเขาแรกออกมาโอ้โดนนะไม่ไหวครับไม่ไหวต้องถอยครับแล้วเขาวิ่งตามมาครับจะรอดไหมแล้วเฮดช็อตจากนิโก้แฟดออกมาสูดครับไม่มีใครมาครับเขาต้องเซฟปืนแล้วก็เซฟปืนได้นะครับเป็นออปเปอร์นะครับรอบสุดท้ายของครึ่งแรกครับบิ๊กขึ้นนำ8-6ถือว่าทำได้ดีครับหลังจากที่พอสไทม์เอาไปถือว่าเป็นทีมที่น่าจับตามองนะครับสำหรับทีม BIG นะครับแล้วมา4แบบนี้ครับเขาจะมาเร็วเลยหรือเปล่าซื้อไม่เต็มด้วยนะครับทางฝั่งฟาเซ่แคลนแล้วก็ปีเข้าอพาร์ตมาแล้วครับแล้วคิโรจิมามาใกล้ๆโอ้โหโดนเต็มๆครับก็บีเหลือ8โดยแม็กเซเว่นโอ้โหแลบออกมายิงได้สวยนะครับแต่ไม่ตายนะครับโลมากแล้วอารูปิดควันไปเอาควันปิดมิดไปมีกิจ้าเคฟแง้มออกมาครับ2คนครับแรมยังไม่รู้นะว่าคาริแกนดักใกล้อยู่แล้วคาริแกนยิงก๊อปบีไปแล้วยังไงต่อครับคาริแกนโอ้กระโดดเจ็ดช็อตครับเคฟแล้วเคฟคว้างควันไปปิด CT นะครับอย่างรวดเร็วแล้วก็รอครับพอโรเทตโอ้โรเทตมาหมดเลยนะครับจากทางฝั่งฟาเซ่โรเทตมาบีหมดเลยครับเขาน่าจะรู้แล้วครับแล้วโรเทตกลับมา A แล้ว2คนเอาฮะเขาน่าจะเข้า A อีกรอบนึงมีการเซตสโมกออกมาเรนแท็บเซนอีกแล้วครับเจ้าเก่าที่อพาร์ตเมนต์แล้วเรนครับแอบอยู่ในไซต์แล้วดูครับระเบิดไปแล้วเรนเก็บ2ครับแล้วเรนเฮดช็อต next โอ้โหทริปเปิลคิวจากเรนสวยงามจริงๆครับสุดยอดครับผมแมตต์พอชสวัสดีผู้ที่เข้ามาใหม่ด้วยนะครับอย่าลืมกดติดตามช่อง Channel ผมไว้ด้วยนะครับจะได้รับชมการถ่ายทอดสดแบบนี้นะครับ Counter Strike Global Offensive ครับในรายการ PGL Major 2017 นะครับกับการพบกันระหว่างทีม FaZe แคนกับทีม BIG นะครับ BIG นี่จากเยอรมันนะครับทีมจากเยอรมันเอาละครับกู๊ดฮาร์ฟครับแฮปฟันครับลุยกันต่อครับผมเก็บไหลมาครับโดนแท็บเซนเก็บ3ครับทริปเปิลคิวจากแท็บเซนก๊อปบียังไงอะคิโรจิมาแล้วคิโรจิมาเฮดช็อตแท็บเซนไปคิโรจิมาคมเหมือนกันนะคนนี้เหลือ1-3คิโรจิมาคนเดียวคิโรจิมา อ้36กับ23ยังไงฮะเหลือ8แล้วน่าจะตายฮะก๊อปปี้ยิงคิโรชิมาไปบายมาเป็นปืน UMP 452 กระบอก3 กระบอกนะครับแล้วก็เป็นMP9 1 คนนะครับส่วนทางฝั่งมาเซ่แคสก็อีโคไปตามระเบียบนะครับเพราะว่าเขาวางบอมไม่ได้นะเรนแล้ว next ครับเข้ามาดันใกล้ฮะแล้วสโมกปิดทางขึ้นอพาร์ตเมนต์ไว้เรนแง้มมาเจออารูไม่ใช่อารูอยู่ฟาเซ่ อารูมาคู่กับเรนเลยฮะนิโก้นี่เดเซอร์อีกแล้วฮะเดเซอร์พ่อทุกสถาบันครับเคฟปาดออกมาครับเรนตายไปแล้วคาริแกนแลบออกมายิงครับ next เหลือ78อารูแท็บเซนฮะแท็บเซนตุ๋ยฮะเก็บอารูไปแล้วเฮดช็อตนิโก้โอ้โห2 นัดเท่านั้นฮะตึ๊บคาริแกนสโมกกลางแล้วคาริแกนตายฮะโดน next ปั๊มปาดเฮดช็อตไปก๊อบบี้โรจิม่าโอ้โหโดนลอยแล้วโดนเคฟมาตุ๋ยอีกทีนึงฮะเฮดช็อตไปฮะจากเคฟสกอร์เป็น10-7แล้วนะครับอะไรก็เกิดขึ้นได้ครับสำหรับเกม Counter Strike Global Offensive นะครับเกมพลิกได้ทุกเมื่อครับผมอีโคราวอีก1 ครั้งจากทางฟาเซ่แคลนแล้วก๊อปบีดันเข้ามา5 คนอยู่ในซอยฮะแล้วแท็บเซนเก็บไป3แล้วก็บีตัวเบิร์คิวไปครับโอ้โหไวจริงๆครับแม่11-7เอาละครับทางฟาเซ่แคร์ได้บายมาแล้วครับ AK4 ออปเปอร์เล่นโดยอารูแง้มออกมาครับมีควันมาปิดแล้วแฟ่ไปฮะแล้วควันมาปิดกลางครับบาเนตอัดเข้ามาครับโอ้โหจะไม่ให้ออกจากบ้านเลยนะครับฝั่งนู้นทีมบิ๊กต้อนให้เขาอยู่ในบ้านเลยครับแล้วแท็บเซนครับดันใกล้ครับดันบานาน่ามานิโกปีไฟไปไม่เจอใครครับนิโกน่าจะเห็นแล้วครับไฟยัดไปเช็คครับแล้วแท็บเซนวิ่งไหลออกมาเหลือ17พีไฟครับอย่างต่อเนื่องแล้วยังไงคิดว่าจะออกไปยิงไม่ใช่ฮะพีไฟอย่างต่อเนื่องแล้วคาริแกนครับเรนแง้มมาไม่เจอใครฮะแล้วสโมกปิดไปโดยอารูสโมกปิดไปโดยเคฟอารูมาแงะแล้วยังไงฮะแงะไหมไม่แงะฮะแล้วไฟเบรกไปแล้วเรนให้ช็อตแท็บเซนไปครับไหลมาแล้วเคฟเก็บนิโกไปฮะแล้วลิกิจ้าเก็บเรนแล้วแกริเกนยิงก๊อปบีไปได้ครับจากทางมิดเดิลแล้ว next ยังแอบอยู่ในอพาร์ตเมนต์แต่เขาเข้ามาในไซต์บีแล้วเคฟเหลือคนเดียวครับเก็บไป1แล้วเทรดกันไปครับอารูเก็บเคฟแล้วลิกิจ้าครับลิกิจ้าเข้ามาแล้วครับยังแอบอยู่ครับอารูเหลือ1ครับ1-2เขาอ้อมมาเขาน่าจะได้ยินนะครับเล็งรอครับ เราไม่โดนฮะแล้วยังไงครับบอลลูยิงไม่ทันนะครับฟุกกู้ทันครับโอ้โหถือว่าเป็นการถ่วงเวลาได้ดีเลยนะครับสำหรับทางทีมบิ๊กนะครับแม่ถ่วงเวลาให้เพื่อนได้ครับบอลลูเก็บเพื่อนไปแต่ก็เพื่อนก็อีกคนนึงเขาก็กู้ระเบิดได้นะครับทางฟาเซ่แคนขอไทม์เอาท์เลยครับผมเพราะดูแล้วท่าไม่ดีแล้วครับผม12-7น่าจะต้องปรับรูปแบบแผนการเล่นกันแล้วนะครับรู้สึกว่าจะหลังๆมาพอเกมหลังๆมานี่เริ่มแผ่วลงแล้วนะครับทางฟาเซ่แคนถือว่าเป็นทีมตัวเต็งเลยนะครับทีมฟาเซ่ส่วนทีมบิ๊กนี่น่าจะคอลิฟายมานะครับควงปืนกันใหญ่เลยครับวอร์มนิ้ว12-7 BIG ขึ้นนำครับอยู่ครับผมอารูครับอัปเปอร์เหมือนเดิมแล้วนิโก้ฮะโก้เดเซิร์ตพ่อทุกสถาบันแล้วยังไงฮะอารูยิงลิจ้าไปนิโก้ไหลเข้ามาจะมาเก็บปืนน่าจะเก็บได้เป็นที่เรียบร้อยแล้วเรนยังคงอยู่ในอพาร์ตเมนต์อยู่คิโรจิมะยังแง้มอยู่ฮะก็บีถอยออกมาคาริกันมา3ครับจากทางซอยบานาน่าแล้วเริ่มก่อวอร์ดกันแล้วครับก่อวอร์ดทางบานาน่ากันแล้วครับน่าจะเอาบีอย่างแน่นอนครับสำหรับราวนี้อารูเล็งขอบสโมกอยู่ครับเพื่อนสโมกปิดซีทีไปเกรเนตมาโอ้โดนเต็มเท้าเลยครับนิโก้ครับจะพีคเข้าไปแล้วครับเขาจะพีคไหมยังครับยังรออยู่แล้วพีคเข้ามาไม่เจอใครฮะแล้วแฟลชไปที่ซีทีแล้วข่าวกันหมดครับแล้วยังไงฮะแท็บเซนเก็บไป2เน็กเก็บ1ฮะแล้วแท็บเซนทริปเปิลคิวเน็กดับเบิลคิวครับผมเป็นทางฟาเซ่ได้ตามบิ๊กครับไม่ใช่ฟาเซ่มั่วอีกแล้วโอ้โหเข้มจริงๆฮะ BIG เข้มอย่างต่อเนื่องครับผมนิโก้คิดว่าจะซื้อเสิร์ชมาอีกคาริกันทับเซนดันอีกแล้วครับทับเซนคนนี้ดันมาแล้วนี่โกแฟตเข้ามาครับไม่โดนครับเขาหลบเข้ามุมพอดีแล้วลิกิจ้าโดดหยองครับหยองแฟตเข้ามาครับขาวจั๊วขาวเหมือนกันนะต่างคนต่างขาวสโมกปิดไปโดยแท็บเซนแล้วนี้โกสเปโดนเล็กน้อยครับคิโรจิมะเรนกำลังแง้มอยู่ฮะยังไม่เจอใครแล้วเจอเน็กครับแล้วพีคมาเก็บแล้วนิโก้เฮดช็อตแท็บเซนไปทางด้านบานาน่าครับแท็บเซนนี่พยายามจะดันนะครับเลยโดนนิโก้เก็บไปแล้วนิโก้ดันเข้ามาโอ้โหลิกิจ้าเบรกไปนิโก้ไปได้ครับคาริแกนเทรดกันไปคนละ1-1แล้วดันเข้ามาสโมกปิดซีทีครับแล้วอารูฉีกตัวไปทางด้านไม่ใช่อารูแล้วเคฟฉีกตัวมาทางคอนสตรักชั่นชิโรจิมะแต่คอนสตรักชั่นไปแล้วคาริแกนพีเข้ามาโอ้เน็กยิงเฮดช็อตคาริแกนไป แล้วถอยมาแล้วครับถอยเข้ามาบานาน่าแล้วเคฟมันโลเหลือเกินนะแต่1 ต่อ 3ครับยังไงก็ได้เปรียบอยู่แล้วเคฟต่อไปแล้ว next ครับมาตุ๋ยหลังไปได้แม่14 ต่อ 7ครับบิ๊กขึ้นนำครับไทม์เอาท์จากฟาเซ่แคลนอีก1 ครั้งครับไม่น่าเชื่อนะครับว่าทีม BAG นี่จะมีผลงานดีขนาดนี้นะครับดูจากการเล่นของเขานะครับในการกันแล้วก็ในการโรเตทมายัง B นะครับมายังจุด B ไม่อยากจะเชื่อว่าเขาสามารถทำกันได้ดีนะครับแล้วอย่างจังหวะรีเทคเมื่อสักครู่นี้นะครับเขาทำได้ดีเลยนะครับทั้งที่เขาเสียเปรียบอยู่นะครับเป็นการโรเตทที่เยี่ยมมากครับสำหรับเคฟนะครับเคฟนี่ยิงสไนได้แม่นยำมากเลยนะครับส่วนอลูนี่สงสัยเครื่องไม่ติดนะครับเลยสตาร์ทติดยากนิดนึงเคฟแง้มมิดครับแล้วมีใครออกมิดไหมไม่มีครับมีนิโก้ครับนิโก้เรนกับก๊อปปี้คู่หูดูโอเข้าอพาร์ตมาเรนรอบนี้น่าจะตึงพอสมควรนะเพราะว่าถ้าเขาพลาดจะเป็นแมตช์พอยต์ในทันทีแล้วนี้โกเข้ามาครับเข้ามาแบบนี้ทริปเปิลเฮดช็อตจากแท็บเซนดับเบิลเฮดช็อตจากแท็บเซนครับผมโอ้โหเดินเข้ามาแบบนี้ฮะมันไม่ดีเลยนะครับแล้วแฟดเข้ามาไม่เจอใครฮะโดนตัวเองหรือเปล่าโดนเคฟยิงแสกหน้าไปฮะคิโรจิมายังไงดีฮะเรนแลบออกมาทางอะไรวะบอยเลอร์นะครับเรนแง้มไม่เจอใครก๊อปปี้ยิงคิโรจิมาจากแล้วเดคิจ้าครับเก็บเรนไปเป็นแมตช์พอยต์จากทางบิ๊กเอาละครับจังหวะนี้ใครจะหมู่หรือจ่าครับจากฟาเซ่แคลนที่ได้เปรียบตอนต้นนะตอนนี้ครับ BAG ขึ้นนำอย่างเห็นได้ชัดครับแล้วเคฟครับรู้ว่าเขาดันมาครับถอยอย่างไวเลยครับกอล์ฟบีดันนะพาสแล้วเจอไหมเจอเรนนะเรนตรงนี้ช็อตไปแล้วคิโรจิมายิงกอล์ฟบีแล้วเคฟเทรดคาริแกนไปแล้วเก็บคิโรจิมาไปอีก1 ตัวเป็นอะไรวะเป็นดับเบิลคิวแล้วเคฟตายไปดิจิก้าโดนเฮดช็อตจากอารูไปแล้ว next มาเก็บอารูไปได้จากทางคอนเนคเตอร์แล้วนิโคครับเหลือ1 ต่อ 2ครับเขาจะทำได้ไหมครับเขาจะครัชมาสเตอร์ได้หรือเปล่าวางหลอกไป1 ทีครับอันนี้วางของจริงครับแล้วยังไงฮะเขาอยู่ข้างหลังกันหมดครับแล้วโดนไฟมันร้อนเหลือเกินนะแล้วเฮดช็อตนิโคเฮดช็อต next แล้วยังไงแท็บเซนเรียบร้อยครับนิโคเฮดช็อตไปครับทริปเปิลคิวจากนิโคเบรกเกมพอยต์ไปได้1 ตาครับผมเรนคาริแกนไฟไปบานาน่าอาลู ลูยังแง้มๆอยู่นะครับจะโดนแท็บเซนนั่นน่ะกระโดดนะสมองปิดไปจากแท็บเซนเขากระโดดเช็คนะเมื่อกี้แล้วเลนมาแง้มอพาร์ตเมนต์แล้วแฟดไปครับโดนเพื่อนนะโดนคาริแกนขาวไปขาวใสไปแล้วอลูครับแง้มบ้านเล็กสโมกปิดไปจากคาริแกนสโมกปิดคอนเนคเตอร์คาริแกนแง้มอยู่ฮะเน็กดักอยู่เน็กค้ำอยู่เลยนะครับออกไปนี่อาจจะมีเหลืองได้นิโก้ดีไฟเข้าไปในควันไม่มีอะไรเกิดขึ้นครับแล้วคิวจิมะมาที่เดิมครับที่เก่าเจ้าประจำแล้วก็บียิงอลูไป next เก็บคาริแกนจากคอนเนคเตอร์นิโก้กำลังจะเข้าฮะแท็บเซนครับแท็บเซนไม่ไหวโดนนิโก้เก็บไปแล้ว next เก็บเทปเบนไปแล้วคิโรจิมะเฮดช็อตกิก้าแล้วยังไงต่อครับเปิดถูกตั้งเรียบร้อยแล้วครับผมเหลือ3-2แล้วเดินเคฟตุ๋ยหลังไปเพื่อจะมี250แล้วก็ P250 อีก1ทีครับจากเคฟโอ้โห GG ครับฟาเซ่เซ GG กู๊ดเกมนะครับทีมบิ๊กเป็นฝ่ายได้รับชัยชนะไปนะครับด้วยสกอร์18-5ขอบคุณที่ติดตามรับชมนะก็ใครที่ดูไม่ทันก็สามารถดูรีรันได้นะครับสำหรับวันนี้ผมขอตัวลาไปก่อนนะครับสวัสดีครับ